I want to share first that if I seem a little emotional this evening, it's because I've been in mourning since I've heard of the passing recently of Sean Connery. It was soon to be my daughter's 13th birthday, and I asked her, "What do you want for your birthday?" And she said she wanted to have a sleepover with her girlfriends at my house. And I thought, okay, we can do this. What do you want the theme to be? And she kind of looked at me and rolled her eyes and huffed, as only a 13-year-old can do, and said, "The Backstreet Boys, of course." And I should have known. I said, "Well, you're going to have to decorate because I have no idea how to decorate for a Backstreet Boy party." And she agreed. She thought that would be wonderful. And she also agreed she'd clean up after the party. Well, the day of the party came, and she had plastered the walls in my living room with pictures of the Backstreet Boys. There were album covers, and there were them dancing in their shows, and there was pictures of Brian and Kevin, a couple of each of them. There was a few pictures of Nick, quite a few pictures of Howie, but the major pictures on the wall were AJ. AJ was her very favorite. Well, the girls began arriving for the party, and that was the first thing they noticed was the wall full of pictures. And they were chattering and looking at the pictures. And I had already gone through the time with the parents on the phone because these girls were from Kinderdale, and several of them had never been in the city before, meaning York City. Well, I had to assure their parents that I would keep them safe. I promised I wasn't going to put them out on the street corner for a couple of hours or anything through the night. But after their parents dropped them off and they saw the wall and they were all excited, I said, "Well, now we're going to go to dinner and we're going to walk downtown to Marcello's, my daughter's favorite place to get pizza in town." So as they start down the steps, I say, "Oh, wait a minute, I forgot my wallet, I'll be right back." And I ran into my office and I grabbed one of the pictures off of my wall and I substituted it for one of the pictures on the wall, the gallery wall in my living room, just wondering how long it would take the girls to notice. Well, we go to Marcello's and they're eating pizza and they're swigging Mountain Dew. So by the time we left there, they were as giddy as you could possibly be. And we're walking back up the street. We go to cross Duke, and everything was fine until the light at the crosswalk started blinking. Halfway through it starts blinking, and one of the girls just stopped in her tracks and started crying because she didn't know what to do when the light blinks at the crosswalk. We just sort of shoved her across the street and we said, "You keep walking. You don't stop in the middle of the road." So we get back to the house and they begin the party for real. They crank up the music and they're dancing and singing and they have the lights turned down low a little bit. And I head to the back of the house and I call my friend and I say, "Okay, it's time." Now, my friend, young Puerto Rican guy, and he could look like Mark Anthony on one of his good days, or he could look like AJ on one of his bad days. So he comes in and he had nailed AJ that night. The sunglasses, the big earrings, the Fu Manchu, the necklace, the huge cross hanging around his neck, and a jacket. And I said, "Come on." And we go to the front of the house. And I open the door to the living room and I say, "Lethea, you have another friend here for your party." And everybody kind of looks up like, "Who?" And in walks AJ. Those girls started screaming and yelling and hollering. I mean, if the wind was blowing the right way, you could have heard them all the way in Spring Grove. They were that loud. They were so excited. And AJ announced he could only stay for a few minutes because he had to catch the tour bus when it went back around the block. And he kissed my daughter on the cheek and he kissed each of the girls on the hand as he was getting a picture with them. And he left. Well, they were so excited. They were just through the roof. They were all over the place. And I didn't think they would ever begin to settle down. And through all of that, they never noticed the picture that I had changed on the wall in the gallery. And as my daughter, they finally settled and she started opening her presents for the evening. Behind her left shoulder in every single picture was the photograph of this older, distinguished gentleman sitting by the pool, wearing a white cabana robe, laid back, his ankles crossed, staring at the camera. And that picture was of the inimitable Sean Connery.